Hey crafty fam, it's Alex Vanover and welcome back to my craft room. This is a video that was previously live on my YouTube channel and I've now taken it and edited it down into a shorter, more concise version just for you. So if you hear me read someone's comment or welcome somebody to the live, now you know that's why, but otherwise this is just like any other tutorial. So let's get into it. Hey crafters, what's going on? It's Alex Vanover back with Divine Design Crafts, and I promised you guys at 651 Vinyl I would go live showing you how to use the amazing StarCraft Electra Foils, and so that's what we are gonna do this evening. You guys, when you realize how easy these are to apply, you are going to be shocked and you are going to want to go buy all the colors because you guys, look how gorgeous these are. Ah. So we're only gonna use this blue rainbow holographic because I think this is gonna look best with our design tonight. This is Siser Easyweed Adhesive HTV. This is also included in the sale. It is under the HTV menu. And it basically looks like cloudy HTV is essentially what it is. But this is the adhesive that goes on the shirt first. And then we put the foil over top of it and rip it off like a Band-Aid. So we'll get there in just a second, but you're gonna start with this adhesive and you cut Siser Easyweed adhesive the exact same way that you cut any other HTV. You cut it shiny side down, mirrored, of course. Mirror your design, put it shiny side down on your mat and cut it just like anything else. Then you weed it just like anything else. But the really cool thing is that you don't have to weed this actual foil because all of the weeding is done on the adhesive. So let me get started with that. I had another couple sheets as well. You can buy the adhesive in sheets or rolls. I would usually recommend that you just go ahead and buy a whole roll because when you buy the foils, you get this size of a roll, and I've used some already, but you get this size of a roll whenever you buy the foils. So if you're gonna do that, you might as well buy a whole roll of adhesive as well, just so that you never run out because you can't really apply the foils unless you're applying them to paper without the adhesive. So this is a little bit tricky to weed because it is clear. I have my studio lights in here because we're doing a video, but if you don't have good lighting in your room, I highly recommend a, well, there's two things that can help you. One is a tracing pad, or like in Cricut's words, a bright pad that goes underneath your HTV. Or for HTV, I actually prefer to use like a headlamp like you use for camping. That really helps me see. So if you guys are like me, I may be young, but I have really bad eyesight. So I like to use a headlamp to help me see when I'm struggling to weed. So as I pull away, this is the adhesive and this is the carrier sheet. So you can definitely see a difference. And once you get your design started, it's really not too bad to weed. It's just a little intimidating to get started because it's so like close to clear. So I'm just gonna get this thing started and then I'll start cutting away some of the other pieces. There we go. So what I love about these mandalas, you guys, and I will share these when we're done. I couldn't seem to get the link working from my phone. But what I love about these mandalas that I'm using is they're basically like one weed, like you barely have to do any weeding because the little lines are all connected to the outside of the design, if that makes sense. So as you pull off your perimeter, you just have to pull up a couple lines in the middle and the whole thing comes off because I am not a weeding fan. I know a lot of you guys love it and that's awesome. Good team, good for you. I hate to weed. I feel like it's a waste of my life and a few minutes of my life I will never get back. So I hate to weed, but I love these mandalas in particular. There's like a whole bundle of nautical mandalas on Design Bundles where I got this, and I will share this when we are finished, because I think it's super fun. So we're sort of at a point where I need to rip some stuff off and get rid of some stuff so I can see. There we go. And I'm using my mint pin pen from 651 Vinyl because mint is like one of my favorite colors of all time. So that just, if I have to weed, I guess I'll use something pretty along with it. So while I am working on this, make sure that you stick any questions about foil in the comments. Let me know what your questions are, what you're apprehensive about, because I wanted to do this all for you guys. As we started talking about like This week when I was encouraging you guys to try something new, a lot of you guys brought up foils as something that you'd love to try, but you were scared to do it, or maybe you have some and you haven't tried it yet. And I really want to encourage you guys to get out of that comfort zone. And I want to encourage you because I also used to be that crafter. I used to be kind of a scaredy cat crafter, if you will, about trying new things because I was just so intimidated by it. But now, obviously, working around lots of vinyl, I've tried lots of different things, and I've really learned that if you just go with the flow and try it and figure it out, it's okay if you screwed up. It's not a big deal. You just buy some more and try again. And that's kind of what makes it so fun. So foils have definitely been an experience like that for me. And now that I know how to use them, I'm like literally addicted. And that's the one tricky thing about one of the few tricky things about foils is that since the adhesive is clear, you need to be really careful and make sure that you're weeding everything you need to weed, because it is a little bit hard to see. But basically, the foil is going to go wherever the adhesive is. So if you forget to weed something, the foil is going to stick to it, and there's pretty much nothing you can do about it, because at that point, the adhesive will be underneath the foil. So there won't be anything that you can do to go back and get it better. So just make sure that you double check your designs before you take the plunge. So like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but like there are some circles right there that I need to make sure that I grab, because my little mermaid will have filled in circles if I don't grab them myself. Basically, what intimidates people about foil is that it's a two-step process versus a one-step process like HTV. HTV, you cut it, you weed it, you press it, and you're done. Uh-oh, we lost part of her thigh there, I think, but that's okay. We're just gonna go with it. It's all good. Whereas with foils, you are basically, when I get this all weeded, I'm going to tack this down onto my shirt for 5 seconds, just like you do when you layer. I'm just quickly tacking this down, and then we're going to go back and put the foil over top. But we're not going to weed the foil. We're just going to put the foil over in like one big square that covers our entire design, and press it and the adhesive together for 15 seconds. And then what we have to do is wait for the foil and the adhesive to be cool to the touch. So not just room temperature, not just cool down a little bit. That is the key here, cool to the touch. And I'll show you guys some tricks on how to cool it down faster. If you're an impatient crafter like me, I have learned it all to get it done as fast as I can. But that's really the key here, because one of the problems that I see a lot of is people say that they didn't mean to distress their design. Their design has little like lines or like little flecks of the foil missing. And typically what that means is one of two things. Typically they did not let it cool long enough. They were impatient and they ripped the foil off before it was cool, or they did not use enough pressure. So one thing to note here is that even though foils can be done with an easy press or an iron, it is a little bit difficult to do. I'd say you want to go between medium and firm pressure. You don't need like crazy pressure, but you do need more than on your average HTV. So let me know, Lori. So here's my design now that you guys can finally see it. It's like a mermaid, she's seated, and like, look how pretty. So that is my style of mandala, and I like that I can take out these thin lines, but I'm gonna have lots of surface area, so you guys are gonna be able to really see my foil when it's all done. If I was doing a regular mandala and pulling out most of the inside and just leaving the little lines, you guys wouldn't be able to see my design very well. So I think this is gonna be really pretty. So I'm gonna start out by preheating my t-shirt. I don't always do that, but it's nice to kind of get some of those wrinkles out and not have to worry about that. Oh my gosh, my pressure is a little bit high here. I think I need to go this way. Nope, still high. There we go. So I'm just gonna preheat it for a couple of seconds. And I'll show you guys some things that I do to make foils a little easier. Also, I'm sorry, my tripod's on the table, so it's probably shaking a little bit every time I do my press because I'm bad at that angle. So one of the things I did is I made sure that all my seams were off of the platen of my heat press before I did that. And I'm gonna do the same thing with the foils because this adhesive is just like any other HTV. The carrier sheet is sticky. So once I get it placed, I can put it on my press in such a way that no seams are on the platen of the heat press. And that is really key to getting that high pressure, because if there are seams in the way, high pressure is not probably going to happen because when you do things like have your, like let's say your collar on there, if we press our flat HTV right here, this collar is going to be in our way. So that's a pro tip for you guys who use heat presses. If at all you can get the seams out of the press, get the seams out of the press. So I'm not gonna worry too much about placement. I'm checking my carrier sheet for spare pieces of adhesive because like I told you guys, if the adhesive is there, the foil will stick. That's just how it works. So I'm checking to make sure there's no spare pieces. I think she looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go about 3 inches down. I'm not too worried about placement. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Stick it down a little bit lower here. Especially because this is such a long, a long design, not a very wide design. So I'm not gonna worry a ton about getting it straight because I don't think anyone's ever gonna notice. All right, so I feel like that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna stick this back in my heat press and I'm just gonna tack it down for 5 seconds. Just enough, just like when you're layering, just enough to get it stuck down. I've got my collar and my sleeves off my press. Okay, so we'll pull this off the press and remove the carrier sheet. I'll move this down a little so you guys can see. There we go. So we'll remove our carrier sheet. And so you do want to give the adhesive just enough time to not be tacky anymore to the touch, but that really doesn't take very long. It's very, very quick to set. And then you're just gonna take your foil of choice, whatever color you want. And I'm going to cut a square that's just gonna cover over top of my design. So I don't have to do any weeding. I don't have to do anything crazy like that. I'm just gonna put it out like this and cut just enough. And again, you guys, you get such a huge roll with each one of these that you purchase. They are a little pricier than your average HTV, but you get so much in the roll, it is unreal. So you don't really have to be as concerned with waste as you do with like typical sheets of HTV, because there's like, if I remember correctly, there's like 25 feet or something on this roll. So there is tons and tons of foil. So I'll make sure that you guys get a really good view of this because this is really the key here. So you're gonna lay your foil on top of your adhesive and you're not gonna do it shiny side, or well, you're not gonna do anything backwards. You're just gonna put it straight over top. But one key here is to make sure that all of your edges are covered. If you underestimate and there's any adhesive sticking out from underneath your foil, you're not gonna get it all covered. But the really great thing about that is if you do happen to do that, you can totally fix it by just putting more foil over top of it and pressing it again. But another tricky thing about foil is that you can't overpress it. So that's another reason why layering is not recommended with different colors of foil, is because if you overpress it, you're actually gonna dull the foil itself. But if you really have to, if you do miss a piece, you can totally go back. Like let's say that like I missed a little chunk of her tail. I could go back and cut a little square that big and lay it over top the adhesive and press it again and it would be fine. So I'm actually gonna lay this on the press before I lay the foil over it, just so that it doesn't shift. So I have everything laid out on my heat press and I'm just going to stick my foil on top, make sure we're not gonna miss any of the mermaid's tail or her head. Nope. All right, so now we're gonna press this for a full 15 seconds. And I'm still at 305, which is what the Easyweed adhesive needs and what the foil needs. So super easy. Scoot you guys back a little. All right. So the foil is already stuck onto my adhesive, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off the press and I'm gonna let it cool for a couple of minutes, and then I'm gonna show you guys my handy dandy hack for cooling down my foil super fast. Because Heather and I have done lots and lots of foils, and so we were jokingly playing around with it one day, and then we really figured out a way to cool it down, and we were like, holy crap. So you guys are gonna laugh. So what we do to cool down our foils faster is we actually take the foil and either rub it on the wall or on a window, because science. So because the foil is really hot, if you rub it against something that's a little bit cooler, the heat is going to transfer from the hotter surface to the cooler surface and kind of suck the heat out, if you will. So it works with walls, but it really works best with windows. Right now, it is like so freaking hot out there that I really don't know that the windows are much cooler. But either way, it's going to help. And the windows are glass. If you're just now joining me, I have just pressed my adhesive and my foil on top of my shirt. So now is the hard part. Now we wait for it to cool. But I'm gonna turn my tripod back around and I'm gonna show you guys what I do that is really silly, so you can make fun of me, that's okay. I'm gonna show you guys what I do to help cool down my foil. So right now I can touch it and it has kind of a neutral temperature, if you will. I don't really notice the temperature of it. But the key here to making sure that you do this right is that the foil actually needs to feel cool to the touch on your on your fingers. So not just neutral, not just not hot, actually cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this shirt and I'm literally just gonna rub it up against the wall. But you have to make sure that the foil is not bent over, because if you start to rub it on the wall, you can actually rub the foil off of the adhesive a little bit early. So I'm just gonna stick it flat up against the wall like this and rub it like this. And I know that looks insane and that's okay, but it really does work because the walls are cooler than the shirt. So it does a really good job of cooling it down. All right, so let's see how that went. I just saw somebody posted something and I didn't see it. So I'll go back and see if I can find it. I'm a big fan. So another couple of things that I have found that help me to make sure that my foil is completely cool is to actually walk away, because it's so exciting when your foil is done and you want to rip it off so bad. But if you do it too early, you're going to get that distressed look. So one tip is to walk away. Another tip is to be the last press that you do before bed and then leave it overnight. You certainly don't have to do that because it doesn't take that long, but I found that works better for me to make sure that I stay patient and I don't rip it off too early. So it's feeling pretty good, but I'm not quite feeling it cool. So I'm gonna rub this shirt on the wall one more time, and then I think we're gonna be ready to peel. It's this bottom part that didn't get as much love. So I'll hold that against the wall. I know, you guys think I'm nuts. That's okay. All right, folks. Let's see how she feels. Yep, so the foil actually feels cool when I touch it. Not just neutral, not a little warm. It actually feels cool. So that means that she's ready. Oh yeah, Ashley, it's a great point. Ashley Jones was just saying that she has a marble or a granite countertop. So because the rock is usually a lot cooler, then you can totally go lay this on that and it'll suck the heat right out. So great point. Yeah, anything that's generally cooler, glass, rock, anything that's cooler would definitely help. But like I said, I'm upstairs in our house, and so I don't know that our windows would be any cooler than the room right now. But so another tip before you do this is make sure that you rip it off like a Band-Aid. Don't go slow. Don't be scared. You just gotta rip it. Oh, Michelle's ready too. Okay, you ready, guys? 1, 2, 3. Ah! You guys, look how perfect it came out. You see, I told you, it's not hard at all. It just takes some technique. Okay, guys, get ready, get ready. I'm gonna turn you around and show you the full view. Oh, Look how gorgeous. This turned out awesome. Oh, good, Deborah. I'm so excited. I'm so glad you get a chance to try it. So see, I missed a little piece of her thigh, but that's okay. Look how gorgeous. I know, Lori, see? And like from every angle, it looks a little bit different. This is such a pretty color. So this is the blue holographic rainbow. The holographic rainbows are some of my absolute favorites. Oh, good, Michelle. So you bought some too. Well, look, now you have no excuse not to try it. So I might have even been a little impatient, you guys. There's a couple of flaws in mine too. You see them? They're really, really slight. Thanks, Deborah. I love it too. So there's a couple of flaws in mine too, but I'm not too worried about that. Like I said, if you're getting really if you're really worried about it or if it's really bad, you can always cut another small square, stick it over that spot and press it again. I probably wouldn't press it for the full 15 seconds, maybe for 10, because the problem is that if you over press this stuff, it will dull. So you don't want to do that too much, but basically anywhere there's adhesive that didn't grab any foil, you can repress and the foil should grab it. So like, look how amazing that turned out. So pretty. And if anybody wants the link to these files, I am happy to send that to you. So let me know in the comments if you want that. But yeah, basically guys, that's it to the foils, but all the rest of the stuff is left. So another great thing to use foils on is koozies, you guys. Koozies are awesome. So this is another thing that koozies are gorgeous on, and you just need little tiny scraps like this to be able, you know, like a square this big, to be able to cover your koozie and try it. So yeah, another pro tip. That's another thing I've put foils on. Margaret, you said yes. Were you saying yes? I answered your questions. With regular HTV, it's recommended to line dry t-shirts. Do you recommend the same for foils? If Lori's asking if you should line dry or dry these in the dryer. I always recommend that you line dry. If you can at all, I think it just really helps. The dryer gets so hot, and because these are heat activated, just the idea of those two competing makes me nervous. So if I can, or if my husband is doing laundry, I've trained him to take out my shirts with HTV on them and hang them up if you can. So I definitely recommend that. If you do have to dry them, I would recommend like drying them on a lower setting if you can. Like I wouldn't dry them on cotton probably, just because I don't know for sure that could happen, but it seems like something bad can happen to your foils and you don't want that. So that's my recommendation. Here's another final look at this foil. Like, look how gorgeous this is, you guys. It's so worth it to try to learn it. It's so easy. Like unbelievably easy. So just because it's a two-step process, don't let that scare you. It is awesome. What did you think of this project? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. If you haven't already joined one of my crafty fams on Facebook, then I would love to have you be a part of them. So I'll be sure to link both of my Facebook groups down in the description. And since you've made it this far in the video, then I would love to get to know you on social media. So please be sure to find me at DIY Alex Vanover on pretty much all major social media platforms. And I'll be sure to put direct links to all my profiles down in the description below. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more just like it, then be sure to subscribe to the DIY Alex YouTube channel and be sure to ring the bell so that you get notified every single time that I put out a new video every single week. But don't wait for next week's video. Be sure to check out this one next. Or if you want to make your DIY dreams come true, be sure to check out this video. I know that you're going to love it.